Um, when it came to the midterms, a whole we had a whole bunch of election deniers that were on the ballot, and basically America said "fuck you" to election denialism, and that they weren't going to vote these election deniers in. So on Monday night, NBC News had called the Arizona gubernatorial election for the Democratic Katie Hobbs over the ugly looking bitch Republican Carrie Lake. Um, it resolved the last big outstanding statewide race of the 2022 election cycle to be called, besides the Georgia Senate election that will be decided in a runoff vote next month. Technically, there should be no runoff in Georgia. Um, technically, Herschel Walker should not have had that many votes. Um, so in the lead up to the midterms, Lake, who's a former TV news anchor who issued bombastic threats to the news media, and she was a lead sycophantic inbred of Donald Trump's big lie, and she had been billed as a future maggot star. The Atlantic's Elaine Godfrey described her as Trumpism's leading loser and the new face of the maggot movement. Then, as votes were being counted this past week, Lake's ridiculous pivoting between election denialism when she was trailing and accepting the results as being fair when she was ahead was so ostentatious that a parody of it was highlighted on Saturday Night Live's cold opening on Saturday. Now, at some point, though, through the weekend, as she slowly closed the gap on Hobbs through late deriving ballots in the redder parts of Maricopa, Lake still had hopes that she would be the last woman standing of Trump's handpicked swing state election denying candidates, but it was not to be. Hobbs, Katie Hobbs put together a coalition of independents that were disaffected Republicans and progressive Democrats to eke out a win by the slimmest of margins in a deep purple state. Now, on the other side of Lake's defeat, um, as well as that of the entire election denying slate of Secretary of State candidates in swing states across the country, we've been thinking something that was written before the election. As part of Slate's attempt to decide what these midterms were all about, um, now, despite the continued threat to free and fair elections, this midterm cycle was not about the attempted clan attack coup on January 6th and legitimate concerns that it may be replicated successfully next time around. But we came to the conclusion that because national polling showed that voters ranked concerns about January 6th as being very low on their list of important issues, and the lead up to last Tuesday, there was an overall sense that maggot candidates from coast to coast could destroy future elections and American democracy itself, if given the chance to do so. Ultimately, all of those candidates lost. Securing democracy did resonate with voters in a number of critical states. Now, in Arizona, for example, Democrat Adrian Fontes had cruised to victory over one of the most dangerous election deniers in the country, Mark Fincham. In the gubernatorial race, Hobbs won with a low-key campaign because Arizona swing voters just couldn't trust Lake with the power over the state's future elections, as governors in Arizona certified presidential election results, and Lake has pushed for the 2020 election to have been decertified, while refusing to say if she would certify a Democratic win in 2024. According to an exit poll, Hobbs dominated the 63% of Arizona voters who thought Biden legitimately won in 2020, and the 57% of voters who had an unfavorable view of Trump. Now, this pattern was replicated in swing states with election deniers on the gubernatorial ballot across the country. In Wisconsin, Governor Tony Evers mopped up 60% of the votes who thought Biden won legitimately, eking out a victory over Tim Michels, who had said that Republicans would never lose another election in Wisconsin if he was elected governor. Now, in Michigan, a full 59% of the voters said that they didn't trust Republican nominee Tudor Dixon to handle any Michigan elections. Now, on Tuesday, 56% of Michigan voters had cast a ballot against her. Now, similarly in Pennsylvania, 57% of the voters did not trust Doug Mastriano, who's one of the state Senate leaders who helped Donald Trump's attempt to overturn the 2020 election in the state, to handle the elections. About 58% of Pennsylvania voters cast a ballot against Mastriano. Now, we don't have exit polling. The Secretary of State races yielded a similar result, with the America First slate of election-denying candidates getting swept everywhere in the ruby-red Indiana. And in New Mexico, Audrey Trujillo, not sure if I'm saying that name right, claimed on Steve Bannon's podcast that Trump had won the state, a state he had lost by more than 10 points was routed by 12. Things were closer in Nevada, where the American First leader, Jim Marchant, who had promised to fix the entire country so that Trump is going to be squatter again in 2024, lost by just 2 points. Now, last month we had asked Fontes the Secretary of State candidate who won Arizona, but the fact that in national polls and concern about election denialism consistently ranked near the bottom of the list of voters were thinking about heading into the midterms. Now, a lot of people don't pay attention to national polls because this isn't a national race. This is an Arizona race. This is important, and it's real here in Arizona. I don't know that there's any key issue about the Secretary of State in California or in Kansas or in Arkansas or any other state, but I do know that it's important in Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and through the governor's race. Indeed, Democrats dominated these races except in Georgia, where both Republican Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger easily retained their positions. Notably, both of them certified Joe Biden's victory in 2020, and they were considered their persona non grata to Trump, who tried and failed to have them ousted in the primaries in the spring. Now, these were the races, ultimately, where January 6 mattered. These candidates were running on a serious attempt to stage a new coup in 2024, and they were considered by voters to be legitimate threats if they had won. I bet if you narrowed it down to those states, it would rank a hell of a lot higher, Pontus told me about election denialism when it was spoken last month. Now, fortunately for the rest of us, he appears to be right. So basically, like I said, in the midterms, people said fuck you to election denialism. They weren't going to let these people be on the ballot because we care about democracy, even though the election deniers did not. So if you liked the video, you can get the video, like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. If you want to support my work even further, you can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And for just as little as a few bucks a month, your donation can help go a long way, and thanks for listening.